Hey y'all, it is I, Anthony the Canadian Guy, and welcome to Wrestlesode. Today, I'm going to be bringing you our interview with the RCW Women's Champion, one of the best ass kickers in all of Western Canada, Ava Lawless. Now, I was super excited to have this interview about a month ago. She was doing some fantastic work and still continues to do some fantastic work. She had a match recently against Taya Valkyrie, and she has another one coming up against Jody Threat next week, which is going to be super fantastic. We had a really great conversation, and we even got to talk a little bit about Ready to Rumble in this one, so I hope you enjoy it. If you are watching this tonight, Tuesday, June 14th at 8 p.m. Mountain Time over on Twitch, we will be having our interview with I'm so excited for this one because I've been waiting for this one for years with Michael Richard Blaze. Now, if anybody knows anything about the Western Canadian scene, a upside there with heavy metal from last week, this name is synonymous with Western Canada. He's won championships all over the place. He's been on TV for NXT and WWE, and he's been everywhere. This guy's amazing. I can't wait for this interview. So if you're watching this June 14th, remember to tune in tonight at 8 p.m. Mountain Time over at twitch.tv/JupiterVision, and you'll get my interview with Michael Richard Blaze. But enough about that for right now. If you guys like what you see here over at Wrestlesode, remember to hit that subscribe button or hit the like button or leave a comment or hit the notification bell, and we're going to get straight into our interview right now with Ava Lawless. Cost a lot. Hello, Ava. How are you? Hold on.
Hi.
Let's switch over to the screen here because there's a nice little guest that has joined us. Whoa, Kitty! All right, this is the best way we've ever started an interview already. This is amazing. Ava, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
Okay, bye.
Can you tell us a little bit about Gray Furball there? Because he was so cute.
That's Lydia. She's named after Winona Ryder in Beetlejuice.
I was gonna say, I'm just like, that's amazing, by the way.
Yeah, and she looks permanently pissed off, but she's actually the sweetest thing ever. So I just wanted to share the love.
I'm going to start this off because clearly you're a fan of Beetlejuice because you just talked about Lydia. Michael Keaton, definitely one of the most underrated actors of all time, or what?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
Birdman? Wow, really good.
So good. Literally in anything that he's been, even kids' movies like Jack Frost, he made good movies out of. It was incredible.
That terrified me, actually.
Was that a scary one for you? It was a bad CG, creepy snowman. There was, Jack Frost was also a horror movie, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was, I'm pretty sure it was a PG-13 style horror, or I don't know. There was, anyway.
I still remember it on the front of VHS boxes back in movie rental places. Oh man, I'm dating myself. Hello, Ava. Thank you for joining me here today. Obviously, we've just started off on a little bit of a tangent, but let me do a nice little introduction. We are speaking with the real Canadian wrestling's women's champion, Ava Lawless. Now, I've been excited for this one here for a few years now. I will be the first to say that literally as you started in this and started trading, I went up to you at a show randomly. I was like, I'm going to get your interview one day. And here we are, almost 3 years later, and we're finally doing it. I stuck true to my word, thankfully.
I remember when you came up to me and said that, I said, let me get a little bit under my belt. So let me get some stuff to my name before we do anything.
And then a pandemic happened. So how amazing was that? Hey, just turned everything down. But here's the thing, pandemic or not, you wrestled, you got constantly better. I was saying the same thing to Zoe Sager in our interview. Pandemic slowed you down none. So congratulations on that, by the way.
Yeah, I think I got this unique opportunity to take advantage of the pandemic and train as much as I could. I feel like if I didn't, then I would have been on a show too soon. And even though I'm constantly learning and growing, that just would have been way too soon. So I'm glad I got the time to kind of hone my skill and figure out who I want to be as a wrestler as well.
Absolutely. So this is one of the ones that I've been starting a lot of the interviews off. Pandemic was a weird time. Everybody started some random weird hobby like making bread or starting a garden and stuff. What was your random pandemic hobby that you picked up other than training and wrestling? Because I know that's a lot of focus right there.
Oh God, I don't think I had a hobby. I actually went back and revisited reality shows that I loved when I was younger, like Rock of Love with Bret Michaels and Her of Love and all that stuff. So I wish I could tell you it was something really productive and cool, but I took advantage of having no responsibilities for a while and just sat on my couch and played video games and watched really crappy reality TV, apparently. And of course, wrestled when I could.
I absolutely. I mean, during the pandemic, I got into trashy TV a little bit myself. I started watching The Circle, and now I'm
Oh,
like addicted to The Circle.
yeah, so good.
Oh, are you on season 4 already? Man,
Of course I am.
I'm
Yeah.
waiting for tomorrow because we're waiting for the next sets of episodes to come out. What a good season it's been so far. But
Oh,
anyways,
yeah.
see, trashy TV. It does. The pandemic does fun things to everybody. Now, obviously, before the pandemic really started, you were just getting your foothold here in wrestling. You were just getting your name out there, and then like everything closed down. So how did it really start for you? Because like one of the questions I always wanted to ask is like, hey, there's Ava. She's in a crowd. Oh, okay, pandemic 2 years later. Now she's kicking ass everywhere. So like there was a little bit of a disconnect for me. How did that all work out exactly for you?
Yeah, like I was in the crowd, and now I'm your RCW Women's Champion. But I don't know. It kind of feels like a whirlwind because I spent so many years in the crowd at like PWA shows, just like watching the talent before me. And I definitely grew up on wrestling. So I was constantly going to shows with my dad and my brother. And it just was something that felt maybe like untouchable. It was always like a dream that I had as a kid. And then I think I just had like one really crappy day in like my real job in the real world.
Ugh,
and
gross.
I was like, man, if I don't do this now, then it's never going to happen. So I kind of just like had a switch just flip inside me. And then I was just like Googling what to do. And now here I am.
Well, that actually just brings me to like 4 different questions that I want to specify on that. So you say you
Lay 'em
grew up
on
in
me.
the world of wrestling. You grew up watching wrestling. Was it a family thing? Was it like Monday nights, everybody's crowds in the living room because we got to watch Raw? Like, was that like your childhood?
Honestly, pretty much. Yeah. So, I don't know if this story is interesting at all, but, yeah. So when my family immigrated here from Italy, we all would get together in like my grandmother's basement, like my nonna, and we would all watch wrestling together. And I have this theory. It's because like you don't really need to speak English to understand what's happening because you can always recognize who's good and who's bad just based on like outfits, attitude, and moves.
Right.
So I think that kind of brought the family together. So it was always like my dad, my brother, my nonna, and then like my cousins and my uncle and all of them. And we would just crowd around in my grandmother's basement and we would just watch pretty much all the television shows at the time. But if not, it would just be my dad and my brother at home and we would be watching it together. So that kind of started it. I think I was around like 7 or 8. Yeah.
So are you from Italy originally then?
No. I'm born here.
Okay.
I was born in Ottawa, but
Right.
but my family moved to Canada from Italy.
I was going to say, I'm like, if you are English as a second language, you have hidden it so well. But
Maybe that's true,
just a
but
little
it is
bit.
not.
It's like maybe, but no, not at all.
No, not a little bit at all.
Did your family like gravitate to cheering for like the faces then because like you were like you said like they were kind of figuring out who to cheer for, like were they like, oh, let's go rah faces, or
Yeah, I think my brother obviously was smart and so he was like always going for the bad guys, and my grandmother of course was only going for the good guys at all times. She believed it. It's still real to her, damn it. So I guess it was split down the middle, and then I just liked who I thought was cool, and like a lot of characters are cool when you're 7 or 8 years old.
well, who did young Ava Lawless gravitate to? Like, who were your wrestlers of choice growing up?
Yeah, of course China and Lita are like my mainstays, my faves.
Fantastic.
And then I guess when it comes to the males, Kane, Jericho, RVD, I'm missing like the Hardys, obviously. Yeah.
It's just being able to say like Kane, RVD, and all that kind of stuff, like very diverse set. So it wasn't like you strayed towards like the big guy or like the high flyer. You just really like characters then, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I think like the Hardys are with Lita, so I liked them. Well, actually, I started watching when she was still with Essie Rios, so I can't attribute that to her. But I don't know. I think I also was like quite the tomboy growing up, and like she was hanging out with the guys and all that stuff and doing cool stuff, and then those guys were like kind of weirdly new metal and punk rock, which I thought was kind of cool. And So and then Kane had fire, so that was just really awesome.
I agree. Magical powers always were like great to an 8-year-old. You know what I mean? Like I grew up the people that I really gravitated towards when I first started watching were like like the Undertaker and Papa Shango, because I was just like, man, all of this is super cool.
Yeah, and like I have to wonder, like I remember I was there when they debuted The Fiend, and kid like 3 rows like down started bawling his eyes out because he's terrified, and I was like, whoa, like that's like not a feeling that I get anymore because I'm all grown up, but like that kid is terrified and probably won't sleep tonight, which is kind of cool in a weird way. But yeah,
it's those things that you remember though, right? Like you were there for the debut of The Fiend. I'm sorry, hold on, that's just like a story in itself. You were there?
That was Toronto, wasn't it?
I think so.
No, maybe it wasn't his debut, but he definitely came out with the lantern.
Oh, okay.
That really creepy lantern.
You're right, with the extended face and whatever.
Yeah.
I love The Fiend. That was one of my favorite stories. Like just going from evil child, like you know what I mean? Like he was the day kids show, and then to be able to become The Fiend. I thought it was brilliant storytelling, especially as a dad. Like I was just becoming a dad at that time. I was like, oh, I can't wait for my daughter to grow up and never watch this. Like
he went from like big comfy couch to like Leatherface, basically.
I love that
or Pennywise or something.
Huge shout out there to the big comfy couch, Lunette, right there. That was a huge part of my childhood too. So next quick questions there. So who are, like you said, you grew up, you follow like all these different people. Is there a person that you really gravitate towards now? Like, do you have like a favorite now or like a favorite of all time? Yeah, I know it's going to be hard to make you pick one, but I'm going to try.
Well, not really. It's always going to be Brett.
Oh, well, it's really hard not to choose Brett. He's so good.
Yeah, but I definitely have like a list. Like Brett, CM Punk are definitely up there for me, because I feel like CM Punk reignited my love for wrestling, because once I became a teenager, I kind of moved away from it and got into like more metal music and whatnot. And then I kind of came back when I heard about CM Punk, and I was like, who is this dude? Like, what is he doing? This is really, really cool. And so I came back, and I have a lot, like, well, I wouldn't be wrestling now if CM Punk didn't bring me back in. So yeah, Brett and CM Punk are definitely up there for me.
So you're a kid, you've grown up, you know, you've kind of fallen in and out of love with wrestling as kids do, and growing into being a teenager. So you've become 18, you still love wrestling. How did it go from there to actually becoming a wrestler? Like you said, you were just a fan in the crowd. Like, how did that go?
I don't know. I think like MRB posted that he was doing like a mini camp, like a weekend sort of thing where you could just like learn to run the ropes and take bumps. And I was like, well, I'm going to do it. So I signed up for that. And then I guess like the very first time I touched the ring, I was like, wow, this is the best thing ever. And never looked back, really.
That's amazing. So you just went to one of those 2-day camps. Like, I hear those things are absolutely brutal. Mm-hmm. It takes a very special kind of person to like willingly go, pay, put yourself through absolute torture for complete like 2 days, and then going like, now this is what I want to do. So
yeah, like people drop out for sure, but I don't know, like you get a little taste of it, and if you really, really love it, I think nothing can tear you away from it.
Was there a moment where like you were training and you were like, I knew I made the right decision, like this is definitely for me? Was there like a standout moment that like really sticks out to you as like, oh, that moment cemented it for me?
That's so funny, because I actually do have the exact moment.
Perfect.
It was on day 2 of the weekend, and I was already excited to be back. I was so sore. I couldn't move my neck, you know, the whole shebang. And I was leaning on the apron as he was teaching, I think he was teaching rolls. And I was like, man, I haven't thought about bills. I haven't thought about work. I haven't thought about anything. My body is killing me, but I am so happy right now. And like, I remember that exact moment, and I was like, okay, then this is it for me. And then I kept coming back to the mini camps, and then I went, and then I enrolled in a school, and yeah, now here I am.
I actually love that as an answer. Like, for you, the love of wrestling is because it makes the world and all like the little things that make the world just melt away, and you can just kind of like become totally immersed in the world of wrestling. Is that what it is, would you say then?
Yeah, and like it must be, because there's no way I was standing there being like, wow, rolls are so cool. I want to do this for the rest of my life. But Yeah, I would say that your answer is much more poetic.
Well, so you've done the 2-day training camp, obviously, like that's just like a little tester. How did you go from there, decide, okay, I'm gonna go find a school? Like which school did you find? Like how did you go from there and be like, now it's gonna become actual training?
I did his mini camps for about 3 months, and then really Calgary didn't have many options because Lance Storm had literally just shut down his school. Like I think he had 2 spots left, and they were gone like that, which was such a bummer. But yeah, then I found another school, and I enrolled there for about 3 months, and I had a few teachers there, and then just to kind of keep sharpening my edges and whatnot, I'll go up to Top Talent in Edmonton. So yeah, that's kind of my journey.
So is that what you do for a lot of training these days, other than actually wrestling on the shows? Do you go up to Edmonton and do you train over at the TTWA?
Yeah, I definitely I think I trust heavy metal and MRB like the most to give me exactly what I want out of wrestling. So yeah, I wouldn't want to be trained by anyone else. That's not true. I mean, let's be real. Bret Hart was like, hey. But
Yeah, if Bret Hart was just like, hey, but you want to go roll around, we'll figure some stuff out. You'd be like, yeah, 100%, we're gonna do it. Bye.
but yeah, to be clear, they are impeccable trainers. So if you're looking to go anywhere, that's the place to go.
Oh, I mean, in terms of actual like Alberta wrestlers, you really reach the pinnacle when you have trainers like MRB and heavy metal. Like, cause like
Yeah.
Alberta wrestling, I always say is like synonymous with those kind of names, especially over like the last few years. Just the amount that they've done and the work that they've put in is absolutely insane. Like actual commendable kind of like insane, great, cool stuff. So you were training, you become a wrestler now, like you've done training for a little while. The pandemic happens. So like you would travel up to Edmonton, you would do some training there. Is that kind of like that would be the routine at that point?
Yeah, there was like this weird part in the pandemic where things weren't as like tight knit, and then that's when I was enrolled in the school, and I did like 3 months, and then they shut down again, and it was like really weird. It was just very weird timing. So it was a lot of stop and go for a while. They're like some training, no training, some training, no training. And then I took up running, which like who does that? Not me. That was gross. So then I stopped running, and yeah. So your girl don't run no more. But yeah.
Only the ropes. That's the only running she does.
Yeah,
these
that's
days.
it. Yeah.
So in terms of like growing up, now you've said that you play video games. I know we've had this kind of like small conversations a little bit here and there about your past. Now you play video games, right? So what is your history in the world of video games? Are you just like wrestling games, or like how does that work for you?
Yeah, like let's get things straight. I'm not like a gamer girl or
No,
whatever.
okay.
I just like play what I like. But like growing up, I obviously played like No Mercy. Like I have this photo of me playing, like apparently I'm selecting Rikishi, which is news to me, but like I'm holding the controller and Rikishi's on the screen. And then like I would watch my brother play like Resident Evil and Silent Hill and whatnot growing up, and it's terrifying, but I would get into the story basically. And then as an adult, I just find myself like kind of playing like The Last of Us or Tomb Raider, Horizon Zero Dawn, stuff like that. And like I'll play like Call of Duty with my friends, but I'm not any good at it, y'all. So don't get your hopes up. But I just find it's like a good way to like disconnect and have fun. And I like to unwind my day by like hopping online with my friends.
So you would say you're the style that you would gravitate towards then it'd be like thrilling, story, narrative driven video games, really then.
Yeah, I would say so. Like I would say like Tomb Raider and Horizon Zero Dawn are very similar, right? They both have a female lead, like long story arc, action. So yeah, that makes sense to me.
What about outside the world of wrestling? Like, what does Ava Lawless do for fun? Like, do you do you have a lot of hobbies? Do you play music? Like, who is Ava?
God, I like never do anything anymore because all I do is wrestle. God, I remember like I just saw Doctor Strange, and I was like, man, when was the last time I went to a movie? And I used to go to movies constantly, at least like 3 or 4 times a week.
Jeez.
So like wrestling takes up, or no, not a week, a month.
Okay, I was like, wow, you must be like a connoisseur of movies.
Damn, I would see any shithole.
It was like anything that scored a 2 in the box office. Like Ava's there.
The worse, the better. No, but yeah, when I was at Doctor Strange, I was like, I gotta do this more often because I also find like the theater is a place to decompress and just like you're not thinking about anything, right? Like you're so immersed in a world that's kind of being fed to you. So yeah, I gotta do that more.
There you go. Well, it sounds like it's a nice little escape for you. It kind of sounds like the hour-and-a-half version of wrestling kind of thing.
Yeah, except my body doesn't hurt.
There you go. Well, that actually brings me to some next points here. So over the last little while, you have been in popular demand, not just here in Alberta, but like I've seen your name pop up for like NEW, and like you've just been, and not only that, you've got a match coming up here very shortly for RCW's anniversary show with one Taya Valkyrie. So there's like, Ava's doing pretty good for herself lately. How did the heck did that happen? Like, how did you become women's champion? What was that like? Like, and then land a match like this?
This is gonna be such a cheesy answer, but I'm gonna say it. But I had a match with Heavy Metal where he's so over that like good luck having a match with him, right? But by the end they were cheering my name, which was like wild. There was obviously like dueling chants, but like I've never heard my name that loud in my life. And so I remember being like, whoa, this is like really powerful. Like somehow they're all behind me now. And so I feel like over time, maybe my connection with the people probably helped. And it is kind of like the best part of wrestling to me. Like I love talking to everybody. So yeah, I would have to say it's probably because of the people. And like, I know at New, it was like someone on Twitter had messaged them and was like, where's Ava? And the next thing I know, it's like, I'm wrestling at New. So, yeah, I think I owe a lot to the people who follow me and support me because I wouldn't be anywhere without it.
Yeah, you definitely have a very little active fan base, like people just constantly doing your retweets and stuff, like things you notice when you're doing social media around you, which has been fantastic. Do you like traveling out to Vancouver? Does it feel like a completely different type of world? Because I lived in Vancouver for a few years. The feeling between Calgary and Vancouver is a night and day kind of feeling. Is it like that with wrestling there too?
I don't think so. I think it was kind of what I expected it to be. And like Vancouver's kind of whatever to me. I don't know. I really love Calgary and pretty much everyone here wants to move to Vancouver, but I love it here, so I don't know.
I moved back to Calgary. I chose Calgary over Vancouver. We are the rare few that also were like, no, this is my home. I like it here.
Yeah, and I mean, I wasn't born here, so maybe that makes me like it in a different way, but I don't know. But it was still a really cool opportunity. It was really like in and out, so I didn't get to like go around and do stuff. But it was just like kind of nice to be in another locker room and like make new friendships and stuff. Cool.
That's awesome. Did you guys go out in like a carpool? Like, did you drive out, or were you just trying to take as cheap of flights as possible? Essentially,
no. The flights are so cheap now. Wow, it's
like maybe like $100 or $200 or whatever just to get out to Vancouver. That's like
wild.
I know. It's like I have friends out there. I'm like, I should go out there for a few days. My old stomping grounds.
I think the last time I went out there, I went to see Nick Cave. And like my flight was like $350, and I remember thinking, "Wow, that's cheap." Because going back home to Ottawa is like $400 to $600,
right?
And then now it's like $90, and it's like, oh, okay, you could go out there literally for a day if you wanted to.
It's ridiculous. When I lived in Vancouver, like 2006 to 2011, a flight from Vancouver to Calgary was like $800 for a round trip. Like it was ridiculous back then. Just knowing what it's at now, I'm just like, I was in college back then. I needed these savings. So that's really great. So you've been wrestling then Vancouver, you're wrestling in Alberta, you are now the RCW Women's Champion, and like I was saying, you have a match now coming up here next Friday, which I'm just going to make sure I have the exact date. I believe I have it right. It is the 20th?
20th.
Yes, with Taya Valkyrie. Now that is a huge match in terms of like the names of like Canadian women's wrestlers and stuff. Taya Valkyrie is like at the top, like it's a pinnacle name. How does that feel coming up?
I think wrestlers in general, she's like really up there.
She really is. She's amazing. Yeah.
And she's so busy. Like obviously, like I've been following her. So like, I don't think she has like a empty part in her schedule. She is literally all over the place. And I just feel really excited, really nervous, really ecstatic. It really like, I have a whole bunch of emotions. And like, I'm also really excited for the crowd. The crowd is like my favorite part of wrestling. So I think they're in for a treat as well. So yeah, I'm excited to see what we're going to get up to. And maybe I have stuff up my sleeves. Maybe.
But you're going to kick her ass though. That's what's going to happen, right? Like there's just, it's simple.
I mean, naturally.
Respect aside, like she's great and everything, but like you're going to kick her ass, right?
Yeah. These forearms can put anybody down. So.
So like, is it like, have you been like really kind of like thinking about that match? Like things, if you want to pull out anything kind of special, like you don't have to give any like surprises or anything, but have you been like working on some very special little things on the side that people could be excited for?
Maybe. That's
Maybe.
it.
All right. Hey, that's all we need to touch there. That's totally fine.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of other dream matches, like you said, like Taya Valkyrie is a huge name, and that's coming up here pretty soon. And like that's a great name to have under your belt. But like, there's other names out there. What are some other names you would love to see under the list of Lawless?
Yeah.
The
I always say
Lawless.
this. That's good. I always say that I want to get in the ring with Alex Gracia. She has like this whole pink gimmick. She's like the pink dream, and she's like really bubbly and cute. And I think that is such a stark contrast between me and her. You know, like I'm all black, a little bit of orange, and I come out to like heavy metal music. So I think it kind of paints a story in itself already, you know, good versus evil, but who knows if I'd be evil. But so I think that would be a really cool match. And I really enjoy her wrestling. I think she's really athletic and interesting. So she's up there. And then I definitely have like people where I'm like, oh, is that a little ambitious? Because like Asuka would be one. But yeah, I think I'd really take anyone at this point, but I'm happy to have Taya. And I mean, if Alex Gracia wants to face me at some point, hit your girl up.
There you go. Anybody in chat who's listening who can make that happen, just keep those ears. Keep those ears.
Or
buzzing.
Asuka. I mean,
Yeah, exactly. Well, we've got Vince on speed dial. We'll just give a call. We'll be like, we know Asuka just made a return. She's been a little bit busy now, but you know, Ava over here, you know, make that happen.
Yeah, and I think Willow would be really fun. Like she's caught so much buzz lately, and I've watched her for like quite a bit, just like on YouTube and whatnot. So I think, yeah, I don't know, it would be great to kind of get in the ring.
It's been amazing to see her on AEW, just kind of like going. It's just been so good. That with Gigi too. I'm just so proud of.
I know.
Oh man, like just some of the names, like I'm so proud of just everybody right now. They're doing such great work. Gigi down there in the States, we had mentioned that during the interview with Zoe Sager. Now that actually brings me. So you were at the match at the Saddle Dome, correct? Yes.
Oh yeah, I was in it. Yes.
Yes, you were in the match at the Saddle You were in the match at the Saddle Dome, and there's that awesome picture. I brought it up. It was like one of my favorite pictures, and I think it like such a like it is wrestling. It just shows like that connection that you have. It's that picture at the end, in the back at the end, with all of you hugging in like the backstage. It's like such an emotional picture because you could just see like all that effort that all of you put in towards that. You got to wrestle at the Saddle Dome. Like that's not something that people just do. Like
that's true.
Well, not anymore, especially, right? How did it feel to wrestle in like such a large venue?
It felt almost like surreal. I remember like I was there in a May, like I don't know, like 7 years ago. I don't know when it was, but they did like Bret Hart Day or something like that.
Right.
And I remember I was sitting like a couple rows back and watching Bret in the ring shake hands and yada yada. And like then fast forward to March, and there I am standing in the ring looking out at people like, okay, now y'all are watching me. Holy. So like, I don't know, wouldn't it be cool if there was someone in the crowd that was watching us and was like, I want to do that? And then the circle just keeps going.
I'm guaranteeing that's happened, right? Because like, I mean, it's such a surreal thing, especially when like a kid meets a wrestler. Like when I was a kid and I went to my first WWE live show because I didn't grow up on the independents. Unfortunately, I feel bad about that, but I went to my first WWE live show. And the first time I ever saw The Undertaker with my own eyes and like I heard the gong, like my life changed. I was like, all right, so I'm doing something wrestling related. Like something's happening with this. So, and you know, that could be the exact same thing for just the kid who was watching, you know, maybe he was dragged out to the Hitman game and then they were like, oh, but wrestling's happening. Suddenly there's wrestlers here. Oh, that would be such a cool little thing because that was thousands of people who were watching after that game ended, right?
Yeah, it was surreal. I mean, it would like filter in and out obviously, but it was just kind of cool to like be there and look out at everyone and like I was wrestling in a ring on ice. Like it was bizarre. Now I like get to say that I wrestled at the Saddle Dome. So it was something you can't ever top unless I do it again. Then
when you do it
for
again,
the first time again.
There you go. Put it out in the world when you do it again.
When I do it again, but then okay, never mind.
There you go. And then bigger. It'll be an ever growing cycle there. Now, I just remembered what I was about to ask, and I've completely forgotten because that's how my brain works sometimes. Oh, so you've talked about some of the dream matches that you wanted, but like in terms of actual companies and stuff, like there's a lot of different types with lots of different styles. You get like the really story-based style that you would get with WWE. You get the really like hard-hitting wrestling-focused stuff that you would get like New Japan. You would get like that nice mix of wrestling and storytelling with like AEW. Like, what is the flavor of Ava Lawless? If you could go sign anywhere, where would you like to go? Like, what do you think fits your style the best?
Damn, y'all love asking this. And it's always so hard because it's like, I can't afford to be choosy.
You're like, I'll take whoever sends me an email, essentially.
Okay, so I don't know. Like, I feel like AEW has like a very, very stacked roster, like almost to the brim. So like, what are the chances there? Although they got like Tony Storm, that'd be really cool. And Ruby Soho, so that'd be really cool too. And obviously WWE has like Sasha and Asuka, so that's a dream. But lately I've been paying more attention to Impact, and their women's division is growing, and I feel like you could like really take some risks and do some crazy stuff. So I'll let people decide where my
I'll just leave it at that.
Yes.
And I won't answer. No, that's totally
one of
okay.
these seems a bit more obvious than the other. Take guesses below or to the side or wherever it is.
Well, there you go. Well, I know we have a lot of people in chat who have been asking tons of questions, so I don't want to take up too much time. We're going to move into the Q&A section. So Shout, if you could send them over to me. We'll take like a 2-minute break if you want to go grab some water or something. There you go.
My own face on it.
Very prepared. Did you say that's your face on there?
Well, I mean, like, it's supposed to be me.
Got you. I have a question to ask. Well, I know the questions are coming through. Black and orange, like you said, is your aesthetic. Personally, one of my favorite aesthetics. Why did you choose that? Is just favorite colors, or do you think these look
idea.
Awesome together? Just no idea. Black and orange is pretty cool. Evil Donatello is like my favorite, or something.
Honestly, like, I know, like, I didn't listen to Paramore growing up because like I was too involved in like metal music and whatnot. But I guess like later on I started getting into like their newer albums and whatnot, and Hayley Williams always had really nice hair, and so maybe I like kind of dabbled in like classic Paramore. But yeah, I don't know. And then I was like trying to think like, oh, like everyone has like blue hair or whatever, but now everyone has orange hair, so I don't know what the hell to do. But oh well,
it's a great color. In my opinion, second best, but I'm a purple guy, but that's just me. But orange is great. I definitely think it's color number 2. All right. Anyways, we got a bunch of questions here. Let's take a look. Oh my gosh.
Let's go.
All right. First question from Shout.
Lightning round.
If you could describe in a few words the impact that the dramatic all-time greatest movie Ready to Rumble, starring Sting, has had on your career, it would be greatly appreciated. So basically, how did the amazing movie Ready to Rumble shape your career as a wrestler?
It shaped my career in the sense that I yell "crown him" anytime someone goes to the top rope. It's for my friends who don't wrestle, but like accepted me into their lives when I moved here, and like the reason why I started going to PWA shows was because of them. Like, it's just such a running joke in our friend group, and we like quote it to each other all the time. And I would say that it's had an even bigger impact on my friendships outside of wrestling, and then I get to awkwardly quote it and have people not get it. So yay for that. Well,
that's always the best. I mean, I sometimes will walk around and be like, I will rule you, right? Yeah. Not everybody gets it, but when they do, oh man, it's like the greatest thing in the world.
Yeah.
Now I'm just going to be pulling up a photo here. I'm just loading it up because you sent me this photo just before we started, and I didn't tell our mod Shout about this. He'll be very excited. Now, if you could avert your attention to the screen, you'll see that there is a picture here with one Ava Lawless and also with one David Arquette. How did this photo come about?
That's like one of the greatest photos of all time. Look at that.
Clearly. Absolutely.
Basically, I went to WrestleMania in New York, and he was at, I think it was WrestleCon, and obviously I was with all my friends, and we all love that movie so much. So we were like, if nothing else happens this weekend, meeting David Arquette has to happen. So yeah, we beelined for him, and it was so sweet. Like, we started walking up to him, and he instantly was like, "These are my people." these are my people. So we all like went in, and he was just like so cool, and he just like wanted to hang out and chat, and like you can tell that people who love and appreciate that movie, he loves and appreciates them. So it was really sweet.
That's awesome. I always love to hear it because, like, I never would have known like how David Arquette really was as a person. Like, you get the stories from like the higher up wrestlers, but like you got to keep a good rapport. But when he just meets everyday people, I was curious. So he's just an awesome guy.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it was bizarre because we didn't even say hi yet. Like, we weren't literally in front of him yet. And he was just like, my people. And we were like, yeah, that's us, totally. And yeah, he was super sweet. He like signed everything. And like, we took a bunch of pictures, and we just like hung out and chatted for a bit. And then we didn't want to take up too much of his time, of course. But he was very cool.
Oh, that's so cool. And I'm quite jealous of the fact that you got to meet David Arquette. Did you do quotes with him? Like, were you like doing lines back and forth with him? Or were you like, just like, I can't be that much of a nerd. Like, I'm like, I can't do that. That's too much.
I mean, maybe we did. I can't remember that well, but
You're just like, it was all a blur. It was David Arquette. It's like meeting
yeah.
someone, like, it's like a dream.
Yeah, it was super cool. We obviously got like the DVD and stuff signed. So
Oh man, okay, this is a pretty interesting one. Now, this goes back to our first little chat. The model of Jack Frost was originally designed to look like George Clooney because he was originally cast, but he had to drop out to film Batman and Robin, resulting in them picking Michael Keaton up. How do you think the movie would have been with Clooney in the lead role? What kind of questions are these?
okay, I kind of love that question though.
It's
so
great.
left field. It's great.
Absolutely.
I feel like it wouldn't have been as Jack Frosty. Like, I don't know. I feel like Michael Keaton was like really good, like as Jack Frost.
I agree. I don't feel like I could see like George Clooney doing that, like the warm caringness that like the Michael Keaton was able to portray. And then I also just think like Michael Keaton or like George Clooney would have put like snowman nipples on, just like he did with Batman with the bat nipples and something. Just Jack Frost is coming out. He's just like, hey.
I mean, he has other stuff, so I mean, it could have happened.
There you go. All right, next question here. We kind of already touched on this one since you have your match coming up with Taya Valkyrie, who since you will clearly squash her. Who else do you have on your hit list? We already kind of chit-chatted about that one a little bit one here, but let's try this one. Where do you draw your inspiration for your aesthetic as a wrestler? Like, we talked a little bit about the colors there, but like, what inspires you to be Ava Lawless?
Definitely, I would have to say heavy metal music. So I like to think that it's a lot of like Wasp and like I want to do like Kiss really bad one day, so like keep an eye out for that. Judas Priest, obviously, like there's so much like black leather and studs and whatnot, so I would definitely attribute it to like metal music for sure. Yeah.
Perfect. Oh, well, that definitely makes a lot of sense, right? Like,
yeah.
Look at you, she'd be like, I bet she listens to metal. I mean, she's probably not like a classical kind of person, but hey, maybe a little bit. I mean, everybody's eclectic these days.
You never know.
There you go. Okay, here's a fun one. Aside from this one was from Celtics fan 43. Aside from Gangrel, what's your favorite theme song? Now, I assume he means The Brood and like that.
Who asked this?
The Celtics fan 403.
Okay, this person clearly knows that I stand The Brood.
Me too.
Okay. All right, this is a hard question because. Okay, that's hard. I'll give you some that I love. So I love Christians at Last.
Okay.
That song just like makes me go, I get excited for it. Oh, Lydia's back. Hi, honey. This is hard. I mean, obviously Brett's up there because who doesn't love a sick guitar riff at the beginning? I know I'm forgetting something because my go-to answer is always The Brood. So you cornered me.
That's what we do here. We just left field questions.
You know what is good though is Church My Time. I listen to that a lot. So that might be up there.
You know what my underrated theme is that like nobody will ever say is their favorite, but for whatever reason always comes in my head? It's Gold Dust's old theme. I I dig that. It's that's on my playlist. I'll just listen to like anyways.
Yeah. Ooh, that's hard.
Yeah, right? Oh man. Yeah, there's so many great theme songs out there, especially like these days. Like, I don't know, whenever I hear that coin drop from Okada, like I lose myself.
Yeah. Or Aleister Black's in WWE was really good too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No man is ever truly good. Clearly I listen to a lot of theme songs in my playlists here. Here's a fun one. What is your guiltiest of guilty pleasures for music? So clearly it's probably not a heavy metal. It's probably something like way left field.
I mean, I try not to feel guilty about it because I'll like it if I like it anyway. I'll be honest with y'all. I've been listening to Miley Cyrus a lot lately because she's been covering some gems. She's been covering lately she covered Madonna and it was really good. And I was like, okay, maybe I'll get behind this. I'm not saying I'm listening to Party in the USA, but
you might be, but you're not saying it.
Well, I'm not really listening to it, but her covers lately, because she's kind of leaning into like this rock and roll thing, which I think her voice is really suited for. So like maybe Miley. Actually, yesterday I was listening to the Moffats. Does that count? So
anything counts. It's what you enjoy, right?
Yeah. But I don't know if I'm too guilty about that. I don't know. Yeah.
Here's a question from one of our viewers here, JJ. Peanut butter, creamy or crunchy?
Crunchy.
Simple, easy. That's one of those rapid fire ones, and one that I also agree with. I like to have the bite. It's so much nicer. It gives some texture to the sandwich.
Some zest.
You know what I mean?
That's a good question. Good question.
Here's a question from Joan. As an Italian, how do you feel about pineapple on pizza?
Hate it.
Hey, is
straight to jail.
Straight to jail. Do not pass go. No.
Yeah,
$200.
straight to jail.
This is a fine question. So, are you like Italian? Like there's specific types of pasta. Like you won't just eat like Boston pizza. Like, are you that kind of Italian?
If I go out, I will always eat ravioli. Like cheese ravioli is pretty hard to mess up, but it is really hard for me to like enjoy like an authentic pasta with like house-made sauce or whatever. Like it's always a disappointment. So I very rarely will get like a penne or something like that. Like I'll probably just go for a cheese ravioli and call it a day.
I feel like you were the kid that was like spoiled by like grandma and mom's cooking growing up. Like
you have no idea.
You're just like, oh man, the pastas I've eaten.
I literally think to myself, like, if there is a heaven, I will sit down and there will be my grandmother's cooking. That is literally heaven.
That is your like, if you could have like the last meal on death row, you're like, I'm getting my grandma cooking me for me.
Yeah, well, I'd be wondering how the hell she's still around.
Well,
she's like 103 now. So, I mean, wait, like, why am I on death row? No, I'm kidding.
You really got Taya, I guess. Like, it was a really good squash.
Sorry, girl.
Sorry. All right, here's one from Mars the Specialist. Favorite candy bar?
Coffee Crisp.
Oh, hey, one of these right here. That's such a good answer. I thought he was trying to like plug himself there.
Oh, probably. But
be like choosing Mars. No, I love Mars, but it's not a great candy bar compared to some of the other ones.
I like it a lot.
I'm like an Eat More, Coffee Crisp, Aero, Kit Kat kind of guy.
Yeah, Kit Kats are unchained. Yeah.
Jeez. I could go that. I feel bad now that I didn't list Mars in like my top 5 candy bars. It's number 5. There you go.
Mars.
Sorry, Mars. This one.
I'll still eat them though when you give them to me.
Yeah, right? Well, unless he's bringing carrots around, because apparently he just brings carrots to all the shows. Apparently that's the big news that we got out of that.
Yes. Well, one time I asked him to give me a Mars bar in the ring, and he did. And then I had to do the match while eating it, so that was kind of hard because they're not easy to like.
There's a lot of caramel. I can only assume that's like.
Yeah, I was like, I should have saved this.
I get you're just like gasping for air every like 3 seconds. You're like, how do I swallow? All right, here's one. It's not a question apparently though. Just saying that Ava has solidified herself even more as my favorite local wrestler with this picture of her with David Arquette. Oh, that's so nice.
If that makes you like me, I have another one from a different time. So
how many times have you met David Arquette?
Only twice.
Only twice. Only those 2 times. Just those 2 times. What was the other time like? Clearly now this is.
The other time I went to Chicago and he was doing an indie show there with RJ City and they were just meeting everyone after the show. So I obviously was like, I have to meet David Arquette. So
I love RJ City so much.
Me too.
His AEWs are so. I laugh like crazy and I keep rewatching them.
He's so funny. And like he'll tweet like the most random, obscure thing from my childhood, and I'll be like, "This guy's funny," but like it's so obscure that people are like, "What?" you know?
Oh, absolutely. Well, I've seen the guy have conversations about Golden Girls, and I'm like, you know how many times I've seen Golden Girls growing up? Like, this is perfect. But it just like his like, I'm a baby face, like those skits that he's doing, they're so funny. Those. They're so good. Oh God, I love RJ City. I'm a baby face. All right, here's a question from Big Vision. Are you a fan of C-Spot Run?
No, that movie was so freaking sad. Max, what are you doing?
Maybe I don't know this one. Is that like a Frankie Muniz movie? My brain says Frankie Muniz.
That's what my brain is telling me. With a dog, the dog probably gets hurt or dies from my memory. So, no, Max, that's so sad.
That's a horrible movie, Max. Why are you bringing everybody? No, I'm just kidding. So you're not a fan of C-Spot Run. You're more of like a Beethoven kind of girl then, I guess.
Yeah, good vibes. I don't even call them St. Bernards anymore. I only call them Beethoven.
They're just slobbering Beethovens running around everywhere.
Yeah.
Ooh, here's a question from JJ again. Do you think you'll ever be a part of Jade Cargill's Baddies section?
I would love to be. It's a lot of smoke shows in there. But I'd rather be in the ring than in the seats.
Yeah? So. I think Jade is one of those perfect examples of like somebody who has come so far in such a short period of time. Like as soon as she came out, she presented herself like a star, and like it took no time at all before everybody was like, "Have you seen Jade? She's great." I think Jade does phenomenal work. So we'll see.
I think what's really cool about her too is like she's interesting before she even gets into the ring. You know, like she knows what to say, and I like that.
Yeah, or even how to say it, or how to look intimidating while she says it.
Yeah,
like,
totally.
Her presentation is just fantastic. I'll always say that about her. All right, here's another question from Heyo Steven, which I can only assume is good old Stephen Crow. When am I getting my 4th rematch for that title? Number 4.
Know, ask the Squigman. That's the
Squigman. Do you call him the Squigman?
I actually call him Squiggler.
Squiggler.
So for people who don't know, the guy who runs RCW is his nickname is Squig, but I've called him Squiggler forever now, and like I don't think I ever called him Squig. I think it's only Squiggler. But anytime, because like the last match that Crow and I had was probably one of my favorite matches of all time. So that I've done. But yeah, let the man know, or have the people let the man know.
Everybody tell Squiggler. Go up to Squiggler and be like, "Hey, Squiggler." I'm sure he'll love that.
Oh, shit.
I actually did send a message out to Stephen Crow today, so you'll probably be seeing him coming up with an interview here very shortly in the next couple of weeks. So maybe we'll see a 4th match for that title here in the next little while. How many times have you defended that title now? It's been quite a few times now.
Friggin' every week.
Just every week for the last forever. When did you win the title exactly?
Oh, shit. I think that was January 7th, maybe?
Jeez, okay.
Yeah.
And it's basically weekly since January, so you've just basically... That's a pretty good win record, I'm not going to lie. That's a pretty good... You're like, I hope.
Yes.
No, I actually lost it in March. I've just been pretending this whole time. I just don't remember. Here's another quick question. Okay. Favorite Britney Spears song? Now, that's a fun one.
Oh, probably Piece of Me. Oh, no, it's Stronger. What the hell was I saying? It's Stronger. And then Piece of Me. Yeah. That's a great question. I could talk about Britney forever.
Well, this is going to bring me to my next question, because we both kind of watched that trashy TV. Just completely unrelated. What's your favorite Britney, or your favorite Spice Girls song? Just randomly.
So, like, Viva For gives me, like sad vibes. You know, when you're, like, sad and you want to listen to sad music, that's Viva Forever for me.
Right, okay.
And then I don't know. Let's go with Viva Forever. Final answer. Lock it in.
There you go. Well, here's another quick question, because these are the ones I always like to ask these, especially for questions like based around road trips. Now, clearly driving around Alberta, there's a lot of time between Edmonton and Calgary. There's at least 3 hours. Who's your road trip crew, and who's got the best taste in music?
Yo, this is so pathetic, because I drive by myself.
You're just like, I don't get anybody in my car. They just hold me back.
The person with the best taste in music in my car is me.
You're like, because I'm the only one there.
Because I'm the only one there. Yeah, so very rarely am I with someone. If I am, it's usually with Crow. But now he wants the belt back, so we're keeping
Fair enough.
There.
He wants that 4th match. He'll get it.
But usually when it's him and I, we definitely love our like our pop girls, so like Britney and whatnot. For a while we really got into Michelle Branch, so that was cool. But when I'm on my own, I listen to a lot of podcasts. So I'll listen to like Renee's and Jericho's, and I feel like it will kind of like give me inspiration. And then I listen to the Office Ladies podcast because I love The Office.
Oh, okay. Wow. Well, I mean, who doesn't really love The Office? I wasn't quite certain. So you're a big podcast person then, hey?
I mean, I guess like those are my main three. And then I listen to like a true crime one called Case File, which I have to be in the mood for because sometimes I don't want to hear about like, I don't know, like decapitation or something. So
yeah, I mean, that's just like on Tuesdays. I save my decapitations for Tuesdays.
You know, yeah.
Do you listen to a lot of audiobooks and stuff then? Because if you spend a lot of time alone in the car, do you? No?
No, I honestly fall asleep. It's like I'm actually reading the book. I don't know. I don't. It's just, I don't know. It takes me out for some reason.
When you get in your car and you're about to hit the road and you've got like, you know, like a 3-hour road trip ahead of you to get to Edmonton, what's the first song that starts on your playlist? Like, what is the song that gets you going in that road trip?
I don't really have a playlist. I kind of just like go with what I'm feeling. So I don't know, if I'm in the mood for like metal, then I'll probably go to like certain artists and whatnot. But I usually start with the podcast and end with music.
Yeah, that's actually what I do too, because it's like, you know, you don't know how much time you're going to have. You want to finish the podcast and then the music can cut out after like 4 minutes anyways.
Yeah, and like the podcasts are like an hour long, so they take up a chunk of your time, right? Where a song is like 3 minutes and you're like, oh. So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me here today. It's already 9 o'clock. We've completely blown through this time, tons of questions, but this was really fantastic. But
this was so fun,
right? I mean, this was super easy to chat. It's always the best. Like I always say, wrestlers, especially around the Alberta scene, like they're just the nicest people, and you could just sit and chat with them for like hours. We're just the coolest, just the coolest people. So, do you want to give some of your shout outs and let people know where you're going to be? Obviously, next Friday, the 20th, you'll be at our Real Canadian Wrestling, Royal Legion #1, downtown, Wrestling 1, Taya Valkyrie. But where else can people find you?
Hopefully, everyone else will be there. So,
I'm going to try my absolute hardest. So, I'm trying to get my ticket.
So I'm always wrestling in Calgary and Edmonton, so you can definitely check me out at RCW shows or Love Wrestling. And online, it's Lawless Ava across the board. So come bug me, and I'd super appreciate that.
Now, actually, I have a question for you. Your email on Twitter, is it Lawless Ava or is it like Law-ious Ava? Trapping everybody. We're all getting trapped here by this. We just want to make sure they don't follow the wrong person here.
Okay, so story behind that is my name is taken in every single variation, and you can't tell that it's not an L because it's in all caps lock unless you find out the way you did. But if you start putting my name in Twitter, I'll come up. So
you're the more popular
so
Ava Lawless. Exactly.
Ava Lawless. Yeah. Yeah.
Now everybody has to go follow because you don't have the excuse to say, well, I followed the wrong Twitter account.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
I mean, yeah.
And then, so you said you'll be wrestling next Friday, and then just regularly every Saturday, Friday, Saturday, Monday, or Wednesdays, or I'm sorry, Friday, Saturday in Calgary and Edmonton, respectively.
Yeah.
Perfect. And then, are you going to be up, like, doing any training sessions or anything here? Like, do you also help out nowadays? Like, how does that work?
No, I'm still a student of the game, so still training.
Yeah, absolutely. Perfect. All right. Well, Ava, thank you so much for... What's up, dude? All right. I'm just such a 90s kid. It's just like part of my repertoire. You know what I mean? I'm sitting here with a backwards baseball cap. I mean, I can't really get more 90s in my 30s here. But thank you so much for joining us here today. It was a really great chat. I always enjoy these. But thank you once again. You want to give any last second shout outs to everybody? Anybody?
Well, yeah, thank you to everyone. Like, this was so cool, and I loved all the questions and stuff. So thank you for like listening to me talk. I could do that for a really long time, so it's probably good that we're like, hopping off because I'll keep going.
Well, we'll just have a second one. We'll just have to do another interview. It's as simple as that.
I would totally do that. More questions about crunchy peanut butter.
Are you like a Jift or a Kraft person? Like what? You know, I mean, I got questions about peanut butter. Kraft girl. Yeah. Fair enough. You're not like one of the, what is that, like the fake peanut butter PB2? You're not like trying to
what the hell is that?
It's like this protein peanut butter. I was using it a lot when I had to go to the gym because it's got far less fat, and you just like mix it with a little bit of water. It's just like a powder.
Yeah, you mix it with. Oh no, that's not me.
No, it wasn't.
That's not me.
No, you're Kraft Crunchy. If anybody is curious, that's the one that you bring to shows. No, I'm just kidding. All right. Thank you, Ava. Once again, have yourself a wonderful night.
Thank you. Bye.
A huge thank you to Ava Lawless for joining me here today to talk about her life in wrestling, what she hopes to achieve. It was a really fun conversation, and I always love being able to spread the love of Canadian wrestling with all of you. So I hope you were able to enjoy it. If you did like it, remember to hit that like button and subscribe and hit the notification bell and all that kind of stuff. If you are watching this Tuesday, June 14th, remember 8 p.m. Mountain Time tonight over at twitch.tv/Jupiter Vision, we will be interviewing God's gift to wrestling, Michael Richard Blaze, and I can't wait for that. Anyways, it's enough for me for today. Please, a big thank you to all of our sponsors like the Canadian Wrestling Archive, Wrestling Rodeo, Backbreak Media. All of them over there do so much for us as sponsors, and I just want to thank them again. I will see you all next Tuesday over here on the Canadian Wrestling Archive. Much love. Bye. I'll talk to you later.